Well, good morning and afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another 15-minute feature Friday. I hope you're having a great Friday. Um, so this week, we're dedicated to talking about um, one of our good partners of ours, Arcules, and their integration into Milestone. So I'll dive a little bit deeper into what that means over the course of this 15-minute feature Friday. Just going to go ahead and kind of slowly start here and let a couple people roll in, um, and we'll get started here as I speak. As always, if you have any questions, throw them in the question box, and we'll address them at the end. I am joined today by a couple of our counterparts from Arcules. So if we have any questions here at the end, we can address some of those as well. However, this presentation is primarily going to focus on Milestone and its capabilities and connecting into Arcules. So if you're not familiar with the Arcules solution, definitely throw a question in the chat or let me know, and we can have one of those guys reach out to you after the webinar. I should say, guys or girls. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Stephen Moore. I'm a solution engineer in our pre-sales division here in Milestone Americas. I personally represent the southeast of the United States, so I basically represent Florida up through through Tennessee. However, all of our solution engineers basically cover the entire Americas regions. So kind of just a brief slide on the Arcules solution. Arcules is basically a VSaaS solution, a video surveillance as a service solution. It's 100% cloud-based. It doesn't have any on-prem or any managed server hardware. The only thing that you really need on your site, besides the cameras you want to connect to, is what they call an Arc2 gateway. And that basically is a piece of hardware that will take your cameras and connect it to the Arcules cloud system. So, like I said earlier, if you don't know a lot about the Arcules solution, just reach out after the presentation. We can put you in contact with somebody to explain a little more about the Arcules solution and what it can do as a whole. But this presentation is primarily going to focus on Milestone's capabilities and basically hybrid deployments. This slide right here basically is going to show you the two different systems. It's going to show you Arcules over here on the left, and it's going to show a Milestone XProtect system over here on the right. So a standard XProtect system is going to have our management server, our event server, supporting services, our recording server, all our devices, everything connected. However, when you start dealing with a lot of smaller sites, maybe smaller locations, one or two cameras or remote communication towers or buildings that aren't necessarily all on one connected WAN or one connected network, you start to run into some challenges about how you're going to connect everything together. If you're going to put recording servers on each one of these sites, if you're going to stream it back through the internet, if you're going to make a site-to-site VPN. And Arcules really makes a good solution, a good hybrid solution for these kind of spread out smaller site deployments where you might have a larger headquarter or larger location, or maybe even multiple larger locations where you want a traditional XProtect system. So with this said, basically your XProtect system is spun up just like it normally is, and we utilize something you might be familiar with, which is the Milestone interconnect functionality, along with some other custom functionality that was built on top of it to create this Arcules connector. And the Arcules connector allows us to connect up to the Arcules cloud, and therefore allows us to stream and see all of our cameras and devices and everything else that's connected to the access control cloud back within our Milestone system without having to create any kind of site-to-site VPN, without having to figure out storage or anything like that. So how does the solution work? Well, basically, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to connect to the Arcules VSaaS solution utilizing the Arcules connector. And we're just going to do that by basically just entering our Arcules account credentials, username, password. Once we do that, it's going to show us all of the cameras that are currently connected to our Arcules system. This will basically appear as a checkbox, just like a regular interconnect feed would. You can choose which cameras you want to bring into the solution. And then once you do, we'll actually get a new site within our XProtect tree that's going to create a camera group called Cloud Cameras. And it's also going to map it to a physical, almost like an encoder piece of hardware within our software. We're also going to automatically define some things in interconnect that you may be familiar with, like remote storage and remote playback, which are options you have with Arcules. Well, you have with interconnect, and you also get with Arcules. The advantage to this is you don't have to have any on-prem recording. Everything gets stored in the Arcules cloud, and we can remotely play that back on demand, just like our edge storage works. We also have the ability to synchronize alarms from Arcules. And like I said, I'm not going to get super deep into what Arcules can and can't do, but basically Arcules has a number of different built-in analytics, and those can generate alarms within the XProtect system. The really cool thing about it is they actually synchronize with the Arcules cloud, so we don't have to define any alarms in the local XProtect system. It also makes for multiple user access and multiple locations accessing the same system fairly easy. And then obviously video recording is just streamed basically directly from the Arcules cloud, just like Interconnect would. So all live and playback video will automatically be retrieved from the Arcules cloud. So what are some requirements you may have? Well, there's not a lot. Basically, you need XProtect Corporate 2020 R1 or later. That is a hard requirement. Same requirement as Interconnect, basically. And you need the Arcules connector, which the Arcules connector is really just a piece of software you installed, but it does have three components to it. It has the Arcules event server plugin. It has the Arcules driver, which goes on the recording server. And you have the management client plugin, which you're going to need on any management client that you want to manage the system on. Three pieces of three plugins basically that all are encompassed in one Arcules connector installer, which we're going to see here in a few minutes. So what are the capabilities? I'm just going to breeze through this slide, but basically the primary functions are you can stream live video, you can play back stored video, we can see the predefined alarms that are within the Arcules cloud system. So basically, those are the three main functionalities you're going to get over the Arcules hybrid solution that you could basically usually get from Interconnect with the addition of that syncing of the alarms. There are some limitations that I'm just going to kind of breeze over here a little bit. They're not necessarily limitations, just things that aren't supported. We only get camera data, so no microphones or speakers at this time. We don't get features that are specifically based on live feeds. So these are going to be like motion detect events, camera specific events. All those are basically populated directly into Arcules, and we can bring those in through the alarm manager if they're defined over there. So you're not going to get the events like you would normally see if the camera was directly connected, like a perimeter detected or something like that. You're also not going to get manual recording or bookmarks or evidence lock features that you might get from a directly connected camera. The MIP one is a little, basically you're not going to get dewarping if we don't support it. But the last one, the PTZ camera, as long as the camera supports PTZ movement, obviously we're going to be able to do it. But if Arcules doesn't support the PTZ movement, we're not going to be able to move it. So. And we also currently can't see the access control event. So Arcules does have an access control integration as well. So what does pricing look like? I'm not going to go over necessarily MSRP or anything like that. But on the milestone side, each Arcules VSAS camera that you enable, you don't have to enable every single camera, requires a milestone interconnect license. So we do have a current sales promotion going on, however. Basically, anybody who's deploying a Arcules hybrid solution can obtain those interconnect licenses for free. And this is going to be valid through the end of November of this year. So we do have a few months left in that. And if you want to order that, basically all you have to do is order a normal interconnect license, and you're going to reference the campaign code Arcules MICL. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick little demo of how the installation of the integration works and that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and switch over to that. Give that just a second to load. All right, so what I have here is I have a Milestone XProtect management server all in one box. And basically, if I log into this box right now, I have my standard XProtect tree. And as you'll see, I have some local cameras on my system right now. So I have various cameras that are connected to my system. These are all local to my XProtect system. And I'm going to go ahead and spin up the Arcules connector, and we'll go through the install process for that. So basically, it's a single installer. Just going to go ahead and open that. Basically, just need to click next. You can do auto detect, and it will actually look for what components are installed in here. But as I said, there are 3 components to this. There's a MIP plugin component, which is going to encompass your event server and your management client. And then there's the driver that actually gets added to the recording server. So these 2 I'm going to install, since we're going to be doing everything from one server. If you were doing this from different servers, you would have to basically install the management server plugin on the appropriate places. So I'm going to go ahead and hit install. Wait for that for just a second. One thing this does do is it does restart your management server. This does restart your recording server and your event server, respectively, if you're installing those components. So it's just one note to note about the installer. All right, and that go ahead and finished. So we'll go ahead and open up our management client again. You'll notice that our management server and our recording server are still in a starting position. So we'll just wait just a couple seconds for those to finish starting up. All right, they're started up. So go ahead and hit connect. All right, and I'm going to notice 2 things in my tree over here. On the left-hand side, I'm going to have a brand new node in my item that's going to be the Arcules connector. So I'm going to go ahead and start down there. I'm basically going to form a new connection to the Arcules cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to our Portland, Oregon office. And basically I have the option of 2 different cloud regions, United States and Europe. So currently we're going to choose the United States. And I'm going to go ahead and enter my username and password. All right, I'm going to test that connection. Looks like it's good. If I move over to if I save, and I move over to the device tab, this is where I can actually add my devices from that system. So I'll see I have access to one Arcules gateway, one Arcules site, and I have 2 cameras there. So I'm going to go ahead and add those 2 cameras in. I'm going to hit add. It will add those 2 cameras into my system. I'll go ahead and hit close. So that's basically all I have to do to add the cameras into the system. They're now configured. They're now streaming. And also I said we had the ability to sync alarms. Basically, if I want to sync the alarms from the Arcules system, all I have to do is check this box right here. I can choose how far back I want to sync alarms for. So I can choose all the way back to last week if I want to. And it will resync alarms every 30 seconds. If I hit OK, or if I hit save, that will basically initiate that alarm sync. So what does this look like in the management client up here into the recording server? Well, I have my 2 cameras that are going to be added. So now I have my Milestone Americas HQ, just like Interconnect or just like an encoder would add. I have those 2 different cameras. And then I also have a new device group that was automatically added, which is my cloud camera group. And we can see that it automatically creates that and organizes that for us. Now the management client, in the smart client, this looks just like any other camera that's added to the system. To an end user, they'll have no idea that this is any different. Additionally, I go over to the live tab here. As you can see, those 2 cameras come directly into the system. Nobody really has any idea that these are cloud-based cameras opposed to being direct attached to the system. And I have the ability to see that alarm manager as well. And I have multiple alarms here in my alarm manager, some coming from on-site cameras, but you'll notice I also have an Arcules camera that's looking for people within the scene. And as we'll see, we have the Mr. Cardboard figure up here walking towards us. I have to laugh about that. And it basically detected those people in that region and it sent us an alarm based on that. So with that said, that's about all there is to the demo itself. I'm going to jump back into a couple more PowerPoint slides. So basically, how can you get some more information on this? Well, first of all, there is an e-learning that is for free on our learning portal. Basically, that e-learning is called Installing the Arcules XProtect Hybrid VMS Solution. So you'll find that on learn.milestonesys.com. Log in with your My Milestone account, and you'll be able to complete this, about 20-minute course. Additionally, you can always get more information on our marketplace page. So Arcules does have the hybrid solution listed on the marketplace page. Just go to our website, milestonesys.com, go over to marketplace and search for Arcules, and you will find more information about what the requirements are. There is a PDF manual on there. You can get in contact with them, get more information, all sorts of information on our marketplace as well. And then last but not least, like I said, we do have a couple Arcules team members on our call today. If you have any specific questions about the Arcules solution, what it's capable of, pricing, anything like that, you can reach out to these guys right here. They will be able to answer any questions specific to Arcules. If you have any questions about about the integration, about the pricing, the promotion for the interconnect license, those kind of things from the Milestone perspective, just reach out to your Milestone channel business manager, inside channel manager, and they'll be able to answer those questions as well. And with that said, that's about all I have for today. We're about 4 minutes over our 15 minutes, but started a couple minutes late too, so we'll call it a wash and we'll say that was 15 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or throw them in the question field. I don't see any currently. You can always reach out to us as well. I did see a question come in, so let me take a look at that. What was the part number for the free interconnect? I'll go ahead and jump back to that slide really quick. So it is Arcules MICL, basically. I'll go ahead and put it here in reply. And any other questions? Right. As always, you can find these recordings on I believe you can find them on our website if you go to our event section. But if you ever have any questions about Milestone capabilities and the technical capabilities and want to talk to our pre-sale engineering department or pre-sales US at milestone.us, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Thank you for joining. I hope you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next 15-minute Feature Friday. And stay safe. Thank you.